All righty. Um, this is our third Shock Talks of 2025. And if you don't know me, I'm Scott Lobenthal, president of HangTuf. And for this Chalk Talks, we have special guest Elyse Brittain joining us. Elyse is a senior pitcher at Concordia University, which is a Division III college. And that's
NAIA.
one of the largest, and oh, NAIA. Okay.
Hmm.
Um, I was not aware of that.
That's
And
okay.
and so one of the opportunities that we have here at Hang Tough, and part of the Hang Tough way, is that we try to connect our players to guest speakers, college players, professional athletes, to learn about softball and hear their softball journey, ask questions. I don't think there's ever a bad question in regards to that, and a lot of times you're not exposed to even know what to ask until you meet somebody that's been through the process. So it's great to have Elyse here, and Elyse is a local athlete, from the Holt area. After high school, Elyse went on to play at Jackson Community College, or Jackson College now, and went on from there and transferred to Concordia University, where she was a two-time NCAA national champion, which has to be a fantastic experience. When you were at Jackson, did you guys also win or get to the
Uh,
finals
we
in
won
states?
our we won our regional bid, so which led us to going to nationals. And we got swept at nationals, but the experience was really good. Hmm.
Awesome. Elyse is a WHAC scholar athlete and also an NCCAA scholar athlete. Um, and Obviously, I mentioned that she played at Jackson College, which is a JUCO. So it's neat to see somebody that took that 1 year, went to a JUCO, and then jumped on to bigger and better things with your career. You also played travel ball here locally. You've been at Turn Into, Fire Sticks, Crash, um, and you also won the 16U national championship with your travel team as well, which is a huge accomplishment. And I'm surprised she didn't jump in, but Stacia was the head coach, and Paul was
Hmm.
also a coach, so
Whoop,
that's
whoop.
really cool. There she is. um, and then like I mentioned, you're a former Holt high school star athlete, and I think it's great for the girls to know all the hard work that you put in, dedication, and you pretty much accomplished everything that could be accomplished in your high school career, and that includes honorable mention all state, all region, all district, all conference, team MVP, and LSJ dream team selection. So which is really cool. So I'm gonna end up turning it over to you, Elise, and we'll
Yeah.
talk a little bit more, and you'll get a chance to, obviously you talk more than me from here on out. But I'm gonna start peppering you here with some questions. So
Yes.
what did you when did you start playing softball?
Ooh. I would probably say I picked up. I remember being in Catholic school and I picked up. They didn't have like T-ball or anything. They just had off like the pitching machine. So like we had a league of literally just like maybe 10, 12 of us, and we played hitting off the pitching machine. Our coach would feed it, and that was probably like 6 or 7. And then I moved on to playing at St. Gerard growing up and did a lot of rec ball through there.
Cool. Who inspired you to play? Who is your role model?
My mom, she's on here.
Hmm.
She
That's
she
awesome.
was an all-state catcher in her time, and she won a few state titles and stuff like that, but she was also my assistant coach for a good chunk of my life. And then she wanted to step back and just kind of watch it unfold. So, yes, I would say my mom.
Awesome. It's always great when you can have a parent involved, and have that
Mhm.
experience. It's a great opportunity.
Yes.
What positions did you play? Say when your younger years, say
Oof.
junior Gerard and things like that.
Yeah. I started in the outfield, did not like it. And then I saw that pitching was like the main focus. All the attention was on the pitchers, and it was high stakes in a lot of relying on the pitcher to do good so the team would do good. And I said I want to do that. So then I switched over to being a pitcher. And then I probably moved around and played third and first. I was not allowed to be in middle infield, but that's okay. I didn't want to be. But I definitely started out wanting to pitch because I liked the control and how the game moved based on how I did.
So what would you say to some of the younger girls that, want to be pitchers? How much work do you need to put in and practice outside of team practice?
A lot of work. I know that sounds very vague, but
Mhm.
when you go to lessons, that's kind of like a checkup point to see how you're doing. Lessons are not the only time you practice. Lessons are just like a checkup to add something else on to like what you're already doing. It's just a stepping stone. You need to do a lot of work outside when it comes to throwing to your parents, calling up my friend, a great friend, Bella Scott. She was my catcher for a very long time. And certain days I would call her and say, "Hey, I need to throw. We've had like, too many days off." Um, but that outside work will help you when you come to lessons because lessons are where you're supposed to get extra work to go do more stuff. So the extra work that goes outside of practice and outside of softball is a lot. It's pretty demanding, but I mean, it sounds cheesy, but you really gotta love doing it. If you don't love doing it, then it's gonna be really hard to keep doing it every single day when you need to work on it.
Yeah. We were at the NFCA conference. I know you've been to one
Mhm.
previously with us, but
Yep.
one of the coaches was just talking about that it's almost a 6-to-1 ratio, 6 practices to every game that you end up playing in your college career. So
Hmm.
you have to love putting in the work, love what you're doing.
Yeah, you
So
really
very
do.
important. Um, what was your high school experience like playing for Coach Reichert and
Yeah.
I know you were at
Mhm.
Lansing Catholic your freshman year.
Yep. Hmm. Yep. So high school was a little different. So going into my freshman year, I went to Lansing Catholic High School. I feel like many people know of them. But going in there, I was a freshman, and the class above me were juniors, and there was about 11 of them, and all of them were starters. So coming in there, that really competitive but welcoming edge that they brought to me was very inviting. But they also needed a leader, and being as a freshman, looking up at a bunch of juniors, it was really key to kind of just prove myself and make sure it's known that I can hang with these big dogs in my mind. And it was hard because then after my first year at Lansing Catholic, I switched schools and I went to Holt High School. And that was mostly because by the time I would have been a junior, there would have been like no program. The juniors were gone, and then we were just kind of picking up players to see if they could kind of just play and step in. And if I would have stayed
Okay.
at Lansing Catholic, guaranteed would have been the best player on the team. But I didn't want to be the best player on the team. I wanted to be able to compete with other players on my team. So switching to Holt was a good competitive edge that it brought to me. They were looking for help, but they didn't know what they specifically needed. And working under Reichard, she definitely wanted me to step in and make sure that I could take on the role that she needed and fulfill that role. But then also the environment that was there was so warming and so I would say team building. And Reichard really made sure that we understood each other on a teammate level and on a personal level. So I really did enjoy my high school experience, and I was able to take a lot of things on personally that helped me now in college that I feel like a lot of girls don't have that opportunity. But yeah, I do thank Reichard for a lot, and we still talk and communicate today. So yeah, she's always in my corner, and I always am in her corner. So
Yeah. Yeah, you were a really good addition to a good team that Holt had, and Holt's always had a great softball program, and so
yeah, they have.
yeah, we're gonna
Hmm.
we're gonna miss Coach Reichert, that's for sure. Hall of Fame coach.
Yeah, exactly.
Um, so your travel ball experience, your younger days, you started off with
Hmm.
Crash.
Yep.
Quick question for you: Did Paul ever coach third base?
Not when Stacia was around. No.
Hey,
Well, uh-huh.
Yep,
Yeah, I
yep,
coached third base before him, so
yep. All right, so that's pretty consistent with what Stacey's telling me. So,
uh-huh.
um, So you had that, fantastic season where you guys went out and you were national champions. Um, your 16U season, and you actually played up. You were a 14U player, and you
Yep.
played on an older team, and you were able to contribute. Can you talk a little bit about
Mhm.
that?
Yeah. I don't remember when I met Stacia and Paul, but I feel like that she can chime in at any second. But I feel like it was just us practicing up at Crash, and she needed an extra pitcher, an extra bat to kind of help her out. And usually, once I did the whole national champ with them too, I was kind of on speed dial for Stacia, and I loved the group of girls she had. I loved how she practiced. I didn't love the conditioning, but it was really fun practice. Um, they just made it so inviting and so like I was like called up to do this, and it was kind of like an honor because
Mhm.
like I'm with my other 14U team and nobody else is getting this call. Nobody else is being offered to, take the drive and, come hang out with these girls and step up in a way that 14-year-old me looking up and saying, "Oh, I get to play with, sophomores, juniors in high school," is kind of crazy. But that experience
Mhm.
definitely helped set up um, just that foundation for me to not be scared to play up with older girls and to find that competitive edge with them too. Because at the end of the day, especially like in high school now, if you're 14, you're going to be playing with 17-year-olds. Like it's just going to happen because you're playing under that high
Yeah.
school bracket. You might as well already be playing them all summer instead of showing up to high school and being like, wow, now I have to play with these 17, 16-year-olds. So that was a good experience. And I mean, I probably was called up for a few other tournaments, few any other weekends that I was free and available. And then I ended with them after Crash, and then I went on to turning two. But
Yep.
hmm
And you had a pretty good run with turning two. Was it Toth? Was your head
Yep.
coach?
hmm
Yep. Yep. Very familiar with him. He always had a solid team in the past, and then you went on to Fire
Yeah.
Sticks, and
Yep.
now,
That was, yeah, for my summer team. That was like a pickup league, I'd have to say. It was just fresh out of college. We are just all looking to
yep.
still play because going 4 months without touching a softball and then getting thrown right back into it in the fall was not going to work out. So a few of my friends from that turning two team reached back out to me and said, "Hey, do you want to play?" I said, "Sure." We played about three tournaments, and it was really fun coming out of
Mhm.
college because we didn't have. I mean, we barely warmed up, we barely stretched. We just got there, a few swings off the tee, stretched our arms left, right, and then got out there and kind of balled. And it was really nice to get like a reset and not have so much pressure and so much expectation on you, unlike being in season with college ball.
Yeah, for sure. Um, so what was the recruiting process like for you? I know that you utilized the NCSA, and I saw that you
Yep.
attended a few college-bound jock camps and other camps,
hmm
like a blue chip camp. Just what was that process like, and what type of student athlete were college coaches looking for at those camps?
Yeah, so those camps were always like my favorite and least favorite times. But once my favorite times were when we were able to find camps and clinics that allowed me to play a game at these camps and clinics. I recommend 10 out of
Mhm.
10. If you're going to go to a camp, you don't want to be taught how to throw and catch the ball, or you don't want to be taught how to swing your bat. Personally, once I found camps that was like, all right, we're gonna put you through like 2 hours of clinic work, and then the last 5 hours were all scrimmages. Those were the camps I wanted to be at because I can hit off front toss and I could hit 8 home runs in front toss, but then you put me in a game and I'm grounding out to first base. So it was just more of that realistic showcase and proving that like, hey, I can, you put me against a girl that's 18, meanwhile I'm 16 and I'm just she's trying to get recruited for college, but I'm just starting off. That was a good competitive edge to see again to make sure that I was, where I needed to be. But I did the College Bound Jocks videos. I think I did two of them. I showcased just hitting, throwing, all that type of stuff. That was a good investment to just kind of get videos out there. And then my mom also did a good job filming me during games and kind of just making a collage video to post out there. But
Mhm.
most of those coaches were just looking for kids that would talk to them, hustle from point A to point B, and just be open to questions and ask questions and not just sit there with, blank face. You're here with 10 other people and they want to see you branch out. I know a lot of programs take their teams to these types of camps, and you guys are all wearing the same uniform, you guys are all decked out in the same, but coaches want to see you go throw with the girl that's wearing Clash or wearing some Ohio team or Pennsylvania. There's a girl from Pennsylvania who kind of just showed up and just, wanted to be a part of it. The coaches want to see you venture out and, be different and see how you can mix and mingle. Because once you get to college, you guys are all recruited at random and then you come together. I got
Yeah.
one roommate from Indiana and the other one is from Vicksburg. I don't know them, but now I know them so well. So it's kind of like they just want to see you be a little bit different and not really stick to the mold. But I would just recommend venturing out and finding different ways to connect with these coaches and go straight up and ask them questions. They want to see that you are willing to ask scary questions or ask questions that might be an obvious answer. But as long as you're asking questions and making yourself known, that's how they'll remember you and see your number a little bit more consistently too.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Very good point.
Hmm.
I like the attending, looking for those scrimmages because it's
Hmm.
a different format. You don't want
It
to,
is.
run through the fundamentals and basics. You want to, be able to show what you can do.
Yeah.
And that's the best way
Yeah.
to do it.
And it lets them
Um,
see how mentally good you are too. Especially, yeah, because I mean, everyone can put
yeah.
a front on and be like, hey, yeah, I can throw super well at bullpen, but then they go out on the mound and they can't throw a strike to save their life. Then it's a different story. So that just allows you to showcase in front of having like all this added pressure on you. So I do recommend trying to find those camps for sure.
Um, no, that's again, a good point. So I want to remind the players in the program, and sometimes our coaches, maybe we don't necessarily talk about it, but we go to these college, conferences, clinics, and we're trying to emulate and do those small things that you would end up doing in a camp to get you prepared. Even at a basic 10U level, we're doing the same warm-ups a lot of time, the same glove work. We're trying to get you prepared. And then we're doing a lot more with just mental toughness, fitness now as a part of the program. We're really trying to do that all-in program to, again, get you prepared and for that recruiting process. So some of this stuff might not seem like it really applies to you right now, but on a smaller level, we are implementing these things with each age group to get you ready. So it is coming. And I'm sure like what
Mhm.
Elyse mentioned here today is like, you're in a script, in a, excuse me, in a scrimmage format, and they want to see you fail and they want to see how you bounce back. They want to see what
Mhm.
kind of player you are, how you treat your teammates, like she's mentioning too. So all of these things are important. Um, so we'll hop here to the next question. Um, what was your transition from high school to Jackson College? Did you see a difference in the speed of the game? What were the biggest challenges? And then you had the opportunity to go from Jackson College to Concordia, and what was that like?
Yeah. So first transitioning just from high school to junior college. Luckily my junior college was nice. I don't know if many girls know junior college. Just for junior colleges you can attend for 2 years. It's just like a step below of what NAI is. JUCO, NAI, D3, D2, D1. So JUCO is a little bit lower than lower, but you're saving money. You can live from home depending on where your location is at. But luckily for Jackson, we had we had dorms. So I was able to still get the full college experience at half the price. Maybe you asked my parents what the price was, but mentally I was getting it for half the price. Um, so that transition was nice to kind of still get that move out feeling, but not be super far from home. And luckily, my roommate, she was a sophomore at Jackson. So she definitely held my hand and my other roommate's hand and showed us the ways and, where to get food, who to talk to about classes, where to study, um, where we have extra gear and stuff like that. Because sometimes you just don't know where anything is and you just gotta keep faking it till you make it. But she was a huge help just guiding us through the first months, 2 months or so through how practices should look, how our coach required us before practices. She would send out a practice plan on GroupMe or like on a Google Doc, and we were required to like memorize that practice plan. It wasn't like, 5 pages, but it was a decent paragraph, and we were required to like memorize like from 4 p.m. to 4:30, what are you doing? 4:30 to 4:50, what were you doing? And that was just like a standard of like remembering, so then we can like move a little more well-paced and stuff like that. I would say the transition was a little bit more independent. When you get to college, you have to show up for classes. You don't show up for class and stay at school for 8 periods, 7 periods that you're required to. You show up to one class, you go back to your dorm, come back for the next class. So that whole independent, making sure you're being responsible with your classes was definitely an adjustment of just making sure you have enough time to get ready and have food in the morning. Um, and then from practices, I would have to say we had 18 people on our team, and I think in high school we had about the same. So the team size wasn't too different, but it was really the adjustment of seeing everybody was that star athlete on their high school team, and now we're on the same team. Yes, I won all region, honorable mention, all state. I have all these accolades, but this girl next to me has that times two, and we're at the same place. So it was getting that wrapped around like we are the best of our high school, and now we're all on the same team. That was definitely an adjustment to kind of be like, okay, everybody kind of has done the same work as me. We're at the same point in our lives. How do I do more? So then also utilizing Jackson, smaller school, our batting cages were in our gym. So they would fall down from the ceiling, and we'd have two batting cages. Meanwhile, basketball's practicing during our practice because the gym's so small, and that's all we could do. And our practices were, instead of being at 6 in the morning like they are now, they were at 7 to 9 p.m. So those adjustments of making sure like I can go all day staying awake and then having to practice at 8 p.m., 9 p.m. was definitely an adjustment. But the schedule flipped and we made sure we had off days and stuff like that. So I do love my experience at Jackson for sure. And then jumping to NAIA was a crazy jump. I remember calling my mom and I was like, there's a reason why now we're two-time national champs. There's a reason why the practice plans and the work that we put in was so crazy. So when I got to NAIA, we were actually, so they have this thing called Winterim, which is where you guys might have this at college, wherever you choose to go, which is instead of having the 2 week break that you guys have for Christmas break, they had about 4.5 weeks of break. Sounds super nice, but it does allow a lot of students who fail classes in the fall to take a 5 week course, a 4 or 5 week course, which is an accelerated course that will give them a credit so then they can graduate or they can be eligible to play. So when I showed up to Concordia, we had 2 weeks of just softball. No school yet, no, literally nothing else. It was just softball. So from 8 o'clock in the morning to about like 1 p.m., I was doing softball for 2 weeks straight, and we were hitting, fielding, lifting, hitting, fielding. And it was a long 2 weeks. But then by the time our season came, we had like 2,000 reps under our belt. Meanwhile, other schools were just getting to 100 reps or something like that. So we definitely had the advantage of taking advantage of those 2 weeks that we had coming into school. And so that was an adjustment. And like I said, at Jackson, we had 18 people. At Concordia, we were pushing, I want to say 28, 32 people. And I mean, 9 of the girls were pitchers. And I mean, there was, four first basemen, there was 8 outfielders, there were 4 third basemen, and then of course, we only had like one shortstop and 2 second basemen, but everywhere else just had so many positions. So then you were really working every single practice to show up every day. Like having an off day was like an excuse of why you're not doing good. So it was definitely a good switch to make sure that every day I showed up competitive and ready to play and give it my all, because I knew that that would help me get into the lineup and make sure that I could show myself and show the work that I've already done. So that edge was a little bit different when I was working against 32 other girls to get a spot on the field. So that was also hard, but now I'm thankful for it because it's definitely shown me how to do a lot more work. Even, I feel like nowadays when a girl's to work, they have to post about it, or they have to, prove to their best friend that oh, I was outside and I hit 600 balls today. Nowadays, it's just that work is required of you, and it's really just a high five mentally but I feel like a lot of girls want to post about it. But if you just keep doing that work, your results will show through the game. I think it's better if you go out there and you hit like 8 line drives in a game and you don't tell anybody that you worked. And then people will be like, what are you doing? Are you doing lessons? Are you doing this? And then you tell them all the stuff you're doing. They'll just be super impressed. But the work will go unnoticed, will then go noticed. So don't be afraid to not post about it. But if you want to tell someone, tell your mom. I tell my mom everything. And my dad. I think my dad's here too. Yeah, my dad's here. But, the work
Yeah.
is always different at different levels.
Yeah. And every college coach that I've talked to, they say extra work matters. It's what
Hmm.
separates players in college. So that's absolutely the case. So,
Yeah.
and I know that you're an extremely hard worker just from, getting to know you here over the last couple of years.
Yeah.
Let's say, one of the next question was, in your opinion, what work ethic is needed to be successful at the collegiate level? But I like your quote, your favorite quote by Eric Thomas, you know, work hard beats talent when talent doesn't work hard.
Hmm.
Can you tell me why that's your favorite quote?
Yeah, I like that one because I mean, it also comes from now that that was my favorite quote, but now that I've kind of grown a little bit from it, I would say my favorite quote more nowadays is motivation won't last as long as discipline. So if you have discipline in your life and you know that like hey, Monday nights I'm supposed to be throwing, or Tuesday nights I'm supposed to have a lesson, and that discipline kind of kicks in of like that routine that you have, you'll always want to go do it and want to be better. But that motivation will go up and down. I mean, there's some days I have to practice at 6 a.m. tomorrow. I don't want to wake up at 6 a.m., but the discipline I have now that is in my schedule and that is rooted in me, I'm going to 6 a.m. and I will practice to the best effort and best level that I have. So then that can help me in the future. So just making sure that, yes, motivation will fade. You won't want to go to practice. You won't want to do those extra flips and extra reps with your teammates. You'll kind of want to just, coast through practice, some get mildly better, mildly decent, but that discipline you have that kicks in and says, hey, you don't do this regularly. Why are we trying to do it right now? Will just kick in. It'll take 21 days to build a new habit. And if you guys start building habits right now, they will start kicking in by time you need to play that game in February, in the end of February, and then beginning in March. I know a lot of travel ball indoor seasons are coming up. So if you start now trying to build a habit, you'll have that habit built by time you're on the field ready to swing your first bat. So that would be my new one, is that, discipline lasts longer than motivation. And that's kind of the same thing, is that, the hard work needs to work before your talent can get you halfway. But the hard work that comes with your talent and adds like that extra edge, that'll help you get to be successful.
Yep, absolutely agree with you. That's great. So how do you overcome adversity, and how does mental toughness and confidence influence what you do? Because that's something that all of the young players deal with.
Mhm.
And I think it's great for them to hear what you're talking about, because they're all
Mhm.
going through the same thing. Maybe some days they don't want to go to practice,
Yeah.
or maybe they're down because they weren't being successful, hitting. So how do you get over that, that pattern?
Hmm. I think now I've definitely have become stronger. Even after last season, there was a lot of ups and a lot of more downs than ups, I'd have to say. But when dealing with that, you just got to take it as it comes to you. And you definitely have to acknowledge it and not try to push it away, push it off, or try to cope with it in a way. I know a lot of girls on my team, when like let's say we have we go 0 for 3 like batting, we let off 2 home runs when we pitch. A lot of girls like to cope with like making jokes about it, or like, hey, we lost, but we didn't lose by, 18 or something like that. Like those are just kind of like coping mechanisms, I'd have to say, but
Mm.
making sure that you are ready to have conversations and acknowledge what you did. Yes, I did this, but I also did this really good. So instead of tearing yourself down like during the game, like yeah, you struck out, but you worked the at bat to 10 pitches. You didn't strike out on 3 pitches, you struck out after seeing 10. So, that also comes into play with, yeah, I struck out on 10 pitches. Now I know what she's going to throw to me. My next at bat, you can flip that switch easily because you've seen every pitch that she has in the book. So I would say just kind of taking it and breaking it down, but not letting it break you down, and kind of learning from those failures that can also lead to success.
Terrific answer. Well said. Um, all right. So now we're going to get into some, some of the exciting questions,
Okay.
things that the girls want to know about you.
Oh,
So
okay.
who's your favorite professional sports team and professional athlete? And it can be male or female.
Oof. Okay. Professional athlete, I would have to say will always be Miguel Cabrera. I've looked up to him since I was younger. My dad can vouch for that, but if you don't know who that is, I would look him up. He, Triple Crown winner, home run, just, so much swag that he brought to the plate. I tried to mimic his swing and then realized it didn't work in softball, so then I had to stop doing it. But he was definitely just, role model on how he played the game. He had fun all the time. I do love and still adore him. And then professional sports team, I mean, gotta love the, outside of softball, I'd say Lions, of course. But I mean, I know a lot of people like the Lions, of course. I mean, I love teams. I don't have like, if my team loses, I'm not gonna, you know, try to argue with somebody, but I don't have too many favorite sports teams, I'd have to say. It's
You
definitely
just
a go green for me though. Go green always.
Thank you. That's that is good. Um, we'll hop on here to the next one. What would your walk-up song be right now if you had to pick one?
Um, right now I've been going through walk-up songs with my dad right now, but if I had to pick one that would be on our school like radio, I'd probably go back to what my junior year was supposed to be before COVID canceled it, and it would be Wild Thing by Tone Low. And that one just starts off fast and quick. If you don't know that one, you should look it up because it's really good. But that would probably be my go-to right now.
Okay. What's your game day routine? And do you have any superstitions or good luck charms at all?
Um,
I know every player is different
yeah,
when it comes to that.
I know. Game day routine. Um, I do sleep in like Lakers basketball shorts, courtesy of my dad, because they're Kobe ones, and you gotta
Okay.
have Mamba mentality. If you want to look that up, go ahead and look that up. It's
Yep.
actually really good. So my dad got me those shorts maybe my sophomore year, so I've been wearing that. I wear them to sleep the night before, and then usually every time before game day, if I have time, I'll shower and then I'll put my clothes on the exact same way. I'll do my sliding shorts, socks, pants, and then I'll put my top on, visor. Um, Other than that, when I get out to the field, I don't have too many superstitions, but when I do pitch, if I am warming up, I'll go fastball, screwball, curveball, changeup, and then I'll go to rise ball. Most pitchers will go fastball straight to changeup. I'm the only person in our bullpen that will go straight to screwball, curveball. Um, I don't know why we would, warm up fast and then go back to warming up slow. I'd rather go fast, 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 and then slow. I do rice ball last because I don't like throwing it because that's not accurate for me. Because when I do throw it, it gets left right down the middle, and then I'm watching it go over the fence. So I don't like warming that one up occasionally. So it doesn't get called often for me. So
Yeah. What's your favorite pitch?
screwball, but I do love my changeup. I really worked on that one. I probably spent I probably went through every changeup in the book before I found this one. I throw a backdoor changeup, so when I throw it, I release it out the backside of my hand. I spin it down, so then it like will go away from a righty and into a lefty. But I do love my screwball. I like to throw that one. Gets girls to back off the plate.
Yeah.
Hmm.
It's good to have a couple pitches there to
Yeah.
mix it up on them.
Hmm.
Um, so one of the things I think, I really like about you is that you're always looking to give back to the softball community in
Hmm.
different ways. You've been involved in, giving lessons. You've attended a couple of our clinics. You've also helped coach one of our teams in the past. And
Hmm.
tell the girls, what is it that makes you want to give back? What's the importance of it?
Um, I would say the importance of it is to guide some of the girls a little differently than I was guided. I would say definitely, growing up. My mom, Stacia, Paul, my dad, like, very, very great coaches, taught me everything that I can know and want to know. It was kind of more once I got to college, I realized like, some of these coaches are not as good as they seem. And I want to be the coach that I never had in college. And I want to make sure that, girls are being taken care of. They're being seen as more than just an athlete, they're being seen as a person. So I like to come back and I like to, give lessons to girls. And I know sometimes they come in and, they've had a bad weekend. They've done, they haven't done as good, but I'm not going to sit there and drill them with questions. I'm going to ask them how they're doing, how do they feel, and kind of get, their head away from softball. So then hopefully they want to come back and, softball should be seen as like a gift. It should be seen as like a getaway from reality. Your reality shouldn't be softball. It should be something that helps you relax and help you feel better about your day. So I just want to make sure that, through who I coach and through who I talk to, especially in this program, that, they are being seen as a person and not just an athlete.
Yeah, they have value other than just softball. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Let's see. Got a couple more questions for you, and then we're going to open
Hmm.
it up to the group. Okay, what's next for you? What's life after softball? What do you want to do? And
Yep.
like you mentioned before, you're going after your bachelor's of science in
Yep.
sports entertainment and management, and then you're
Hmm.
considering, and your goal is to get your master's in business administration and sports management. What do
Yep.
you plan on doing with that education?
So my plan right now, I'm gonna graduate from school and then I'm gonna go back to school. So I'll actually, right now the plan is to go to Eastern Michigan University. I'm gonna be a GA there, which a GA is a grad assistant. So I will get my school halfway. I'll get like 50% off with like a stipend and whatnot. But I'm gonna work in their ticket office for football sales, men's and women's basketball, and I'm gonna work there while I'm gonna pursue actually human resources, organizational development for my master's. So that's what I'll do after I'm done with Concordia. I'll just go straight over there, do my master's there, and then hopefully that'll kind of lead more into the business route and whatnot. And of course, this summer I'm gonna do coaching and whatnot. But um, yeah, so just gonna go right back to school because I love it so much.
Yeah, I went and got my bachelor's and then went right on back and got my master's. So
Yeah.
it's a good thing to do. It's get better to do it
Yes.
now than to wait. For
Yes. I don't
absolutely.
want to wait. So.
All right. Last question I have for you
Mhm.
tonight before we open it up. What do you think about our Hang Tough Chalk Talks?
Oh, I like these. I wish people had their cameras on. I feel like I'm talking to no one, but that's okay. We'll let it happen for the next person. Um, I do like these. Oh, there's a few. Paul's been turning his on and off.
And
The
we usually
coaches,
ask Paul to turn it off.
yeah, the coaches turn theirs on. I like it. But
Yeah.
I do like these. I remember having a few of these growing up, and these were really beneficial to just kind of hear different experiences because in this life, it was very I mean, there's high pressure to like, I mean, I talk to my parents all the time, like, do you want to go on? You don't have to go on. It's kind of, it's your decision and, towing the line of what do I want to do, what do I not want to do. It was always good to just hear different perspectives and different stories and just learn from what other people went through. So I think these are super beneficial and can definitely help, young athletes learn things. You can take away, whether you liked me or not, I mean, you're listening. So that's all that matters.
Yeah. It's always great to, have an opportunity to learn something new. And
Hmm.
that's what these are all about.
Yeah.
Oh, can your mom or dad provide some advice?
Oh, there's
Just
my mom.
you know,
Go ahead, Coach Michelle.
Advice as to
just
like
any of the younger
life with a
players or
softball
families. Yep.
player. You know, the one thing I would tell parents is, the whole experience with travel ball and then high school and then college is, everybody told me it would go quick and it you blink your eye and it's done. And those moments that I had you know, with Elyse for the weekend, we're in Indiana, the weekend we're up in Midland, or whatever the case was. I mean, those were just the greatest times. Whether it was just her and I or the whole family, um, just just to hang out, bond, watch her do what she does, be supportive, and just be a part of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, making memories.
Making
So,
there you go, making
yeah.
memories, a lot of memories.
No,
Yeah.
yeah, it's really cool. I definitely enjoyed my time with my daughters, and I've coaching 10U this year, and my daughter's playing for Louis on the 18U team. So
Mhm.
watching that from a distance now, and
Mhm.
it's nice to see, like, over the years, just the growth, and like all those relationships and friendships that they build, and just how it helps make them a better person. So that's what we definitely want for all of our girls. All right. Well, this is where it usually gets a little crazy. We're gonna open it up for questions, and I'm gonna preface this with just asking, please ask one question and then let the next person ask a question. I just want to get as many people involved as possible, and then if there's a gap, then by all means, you can ask a second question. So I'm gonna go through the raise the hand, here in the chat,
Good
and
feedback.
we will start with what do we got here? Yeah,
I have my
Jacqueline.
hand up.
We got to do it on the screen, Sasha. You can't see
I
that.
literally was putting my hand up though.
Yep, go ahead, Sasha.
Elyse, I just have one question for you. When you were 14U and you played the Nationals at 16U, the final game, I called timeout, and it come down to the choice of who I was going to hand the ball to. And when the 16U team said, give it to Elyse, how did you feel?
Well,
As a
I remember,
14U player.
because I remember, I think you asked Peyton, right? You asked Peyton,
Yep.
like,
Yep.
what do you want to do? And Peyton said, give it to Elyse.
Yep.
I can't swear, but I was like, holy crap. I was like, there's no way that this team wants me to get out there. Because, I mean, I showed up, I already missed like a game, 2 days.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah, I already missed 2 days because I was already playing in a tournament, and then drove up and met with everybody. But once I knew that they knew I could do it, I knew that it was gonna be a fun game, and it was gonna be the best game. So
Yep.
that was
Definitely awesome.
that's a one in a lifetime experience to have a whole team say put Elyse in, basically.
Yep, you did awesome. Way to go.
Thanks. I still rewatch the videos. They're great.
All the time.
Every year.
Yep.
July 12th.
That's funny.
I know it by now.
All right. Kennedy.
What's your number and what's the meaning of it?
So I would say I'm gonna go back to travel ball, because in college you just get assigned them based on size. So I'm number 20 right now in college. But in travel ball I was number 1, and it was more of an ego thing when I was younger. I was like, oh, I want to be number 1 because I am number 1. So I just kind of brought that mentality into the game. And then I was stuck with it until 18U. So I just kept wearing number 1. And I was like, seeing all these other number 1s play with 1 on their back, I was like, they can't compete with me. I would say now with college, what numbers? I've been 20. I was 25 at Jackson. I was 20. I'm 20 right now. And I do like the double digits, because I feel like when you see the double digit numbers, especially like 20, 25, that means you're a big hitter. So I like to wear that on my chest too, and know that, this 20 number is gonna, make something happen. But
Thank you.
All right. Adlin.
You said you were a pitcher, right?
Yep.
As you being a pitcher and I'm a catcher, what do you want to know or to fix from your catcher?
That's a good question. I would personally say, the honesty is needed. If you come across a pitcher that you have and she doesn't want your feedback or doesn't want to take your feedback, that's a red flag in my eyes. We have catchers, I mean, I will throw a curveball that will not break at all, and if you sit there and you tell me that was great, I will think it's great until I throw it in a game and then a girl takes it over the fence. So that honesty and being able to read your pitchers is definitely something that I would, start doing with your pitchers right now and making sure that you know how pitches are supposed to break. I've worked with catchers before where, I said screwball and they set up on the outside when a screwball's supposed to go on the inside. So it's also good to know where the ball's supposed to break and how it's supposed to break, and knowing the spin. That will help your pitcher a lot too. And just knowing how your pitcher holds themselves. I know sometimes, even my catcher right now, she can tell if I'm being really choppy with my motion, and she'll try to find little keywords that I've told her to personally pick up on, and she'll tell me that keyword, then I fix it instantly. So, once again, a pitcher catcher bond is super. It needs to be super strong, but I would just talk to your pitchers and try to find keywords that they use all the time, so then you can use them and then they instantly know, like, hey, all right, I need to do this, she's telling me I'm doing this wrong. So I would just make sure you know the spin and then some keywords that can just let them flip that switch. But that's a good question.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So Elyse, just to kind of piggyback on that,
Mhm.
as a leader on the field, how do you
Mhm.
talk to your teammates to make sure it's a positive and constructive conversation and that you guys aren't tearing one another down?
Yeah. Usually if situations get hot and, like, errors just keep happening, or, granted, like, even me too, letting too many hits happen consistently, calling time is the best option to just stop the momentum of play, bring everybody in, check out the situation and be like, all right, she's fast at 3, but she's slow at 1. We could get her at 2. Like, just breaking those things down. But instantly just turning to, like, I mean, we had some errors last weekend when we played, but instantly turning back to them and saying, shake it. You got this. Next play. Don't worry about it. I'll pick it up. Because, I mean, a pitcher has full ability to kind of, dictate how much spin and speed they put on the ball. But I would definitely make sure that those quick responses are coming out calm. Because as a pitcher, it can get really heated, and if as a pitcher, if you're not talking to your infield, they don't know what's going on. They don't know. You need to make sure that you're vocal. You're turning around. Hey, 2 outs, 1 down. You got to keep the motion moving on the field, even if you know that it's not going well. So just finding those quick phrases to say, just like, especially with a catcher, finding those little phrases that they know, like, hey, I'm doing this wrong, I need to do this. And I mean, I've called time before, and I've just talked to, my shortstop, because they've overthrown the ball 3 times, and it's like, hey, relax, you got it. Take your time on your throw a little bit more. Instead of going this way, go that way. So always just come with a calm approach, and if you're calm, then your whole team will be calm. They'll trust you.
It's definitely good advice. All right, how about Jackie? You're gonna have to unmute, Jackie.
Out of all the sports, why did you choose softball to play?
I would say with softball, I like the adrenaline, and I like the fast pace, and I like having I don't want to say all the attention on me, but I like all the pressure when it comes to pitching. I like those high stakes moment and being able to bring that energy to, make the team feel good, and to know that it's a very what's the word I'm trying to think of? It's just, at the end of the day, this sport, you'll fail more than you'll succeed, but something about that just keeps bringing me back to it. And I prefer this sport because of the team and the bonding and the travel that you have to do also. That's what kept me with it. I played, what did I do? I did basketball for a little bit, stopped that. And then I did volleyball for a little bit too, but just softball just kept coming back with those personal moments that I had, from hitting the ball to pitching the ball to striking someone out, those personal highlights I definitely liked, but being able to do it with teammates was way better than my personal success. So I definitely loved the team, and I loved the personal success that came with it.
Thank
Cool.
you.
Challenge and the competition.
Yeah.
All right, Vanessa.
Hello, my name is Vanessa. What is your good luck charm to bring to a game, or like a special routine to do before a game?
Okay, that's a good one. My good luck charms, I would say, have changed. In high school, my dad got me a pickle. I know it sounds weird. It was a stuffed animal, but a pickle. So I brought that to every high school game, my senior year high school game. He was on the traveling with me. Now in college, I mean, now I always wear a cross around my neck. I always have, jewelry on of some sort. Having earrings in is I would say that's a superstition of mine. Can't have an earring out, or I can't change if I have a good game, these earrings will not be changed for the whole year because that's what they're dependent on. Game routine, I would also say, I don't have too many in-game routines, but when I do warm up, I like to do different stretches that will, I guess, activate different muscles that I haven't worked on. I know that doesn't sound super wow or interesting. I don't do anything too weird, I swear. But yeah, I would say probably just wearing the same thing consistently. If I have a good game, I'll wear that same sweatshirt until I have a bad game. I'll wear I'll have sliding shorts. I'll wash them the next day, wear them again, just because I did good with those. So I'm going to keep wearing those again. So then hopefully it'll be another good day. But I would say just keeping the same things on and washing them, of course, because we don't want to smell bad or anything. But
Yeah. Let's go to Coach Paul. What do you
Okay.
have, Coach Paul?
I just saw his.
Elyse, I want you to tell us about your bonding experience as a travel team, and how important it is for the bonding experience in your team, because I believe you've gone to 2 weddings now since our travel team.
What have I done?
Gone to 2 of the weddings that we've been to, or of our teammates back in the day.
Have I? I think I've seen them posted. I don't know if I went, but I get what you're saying. I'm picking
No.
up what you're putting down. I'm picking it up. Yeah, team bonding. I would say I am definitely a person that can talk to anybody on my team, especially right now. I can walk up to anybody, have a conversation with them because I like to be friendly with everyone. But the team bonding aspects, I know Paul and Stacia made us run hills in Kentucky at this one time for team bonding, which was so fun.
And the car ride back.
And we really bonded when we were all dying because it was conditioning in Kentucky when it was supposed to be our off day. But nonetheless, that was good bonding because we all did it together and we were all suffering together. So that made for a better story later on. I would say, of course, from the late nights at the hotel room to the early mornings of playing a game at 7 a.m. when warm-ups are at, 5:55. That just always brought us closer because we knew we were doing it together. And when you get on these teams, like, everybody's doing the same thing all at once. So you're never really alone on these teams, but also being able to venture out and talk to everyone on your team and not just stay in these cliques of, hey, I'm only friends with this person and I talk to this person outside of here, but at practice we're, this close to each other. You want to make sure that everyone on your team feels welcome and acknowledged. So then when you guys are competing for these games, you guys have each other's backs. And you know that my center fielder will catch this ball if I let it up, and, she'll save the day. And that also happened at Nationals too. I think I let up a ball and I think Tiny was in the outfield and, she dove, caught it. And I had trust in her because I just talked to her the game before on how good she is out there. But, making sure that you are talking to every person on your team and making that effort to connect with them, even if they don't want to connect with you, you just keep trying because you'll need them eventually down the line. they'll be that batter that comes up in the game, bases are loaded, 2 outs, and you need them, but you haven't talked to know anything about them. So just, forming those bonds early on and, learning how people work and how they throw the ball and how they catch the ball is definitely critical. And I would say that would be my take on it.
You are very
And I
good
think
at
it's and I think it's really important to, even at the younger levels in travel, to start doing those things, because that's what college coaches are looking for. They're not looking for somebody to be, isolated or alone on their, in their dugout. They want team players. So it's a great thing to work on even at a young age.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, good question, Paul.
Nice, Paul.
Yep. Chrislyn Cooper.
You mentioned like a competitive edge quite a few times. Can you explain more about that?
Yes. I would say, when I say competitive edge, I would say putting yourself in situations that you'll be uncomfortable in and not knowing that you'll succeed in. So many of the times I would feel like a lot of girls will find the easy way out or find things that they are good at and just keep, doing it over and over again and getting the same result and be like, hey, I'm getting better, but you keep doing the same thing. So getting yourself out there and challenging yourself, I would say even today I did it. We were working outside inside, and I could have easily just told my front tosser, like, hey, just give me outside. I know I can hit an outside pitch. Instead, I told her, hey, throw me inside because I know I cannot hit it. But that's going to give me that competitive edge, so then when I get in a game and they throw me inside, I'm going to be able to get to it faster. I still know that I can hit the outside, but when it comes to inside, I may struggle there. So why don't we embrace that struggle a little bit more and work on it? I do have a lot of kids who come in for lessons, and it's always that, one more swing, and then we hit the ball and I look at them and I'm like, was that like the last swing you really wanted? And then next thing you know, we're in there for 10 more reps, but then at the end of those 10, you get 10 more swings plus that one that you wanted. So then you're just getting more competitive through it and just embracing that struggle. So I would recommend for a lot of girls to just find areas that they do not succeed in and trying to embrace them a little bit more and learn how to work through them a little bit more. So then by the time you get in the game and that situation happens, you know how to work through them.
All right. Any other questions from the group? One last call here. Elyse, you've been a fantastic guest, and I love all the talking points. You hit on all the things that are relevant and important for the girls, and it applies to everybody across the board. All right, looks like we have another person. Yep, Dad with his hand up. I want to know about this pickle. Why did we get a stuffed pickle?
I think it's at home.
I'm sorry. What was that?
Elyse mentioned that she got a good luck charm, and it was a stuffed pickle.
Mr.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She had Elyse has ways of being like really involved in good luck charms to a certain degree. And one of those things where she always had cuddly toys growing up. And it was a situation more or less where this pickle just kind of fit. And it was a good luck charm in essence, but it just kind of helped her always maintain her calm demeanor on the mound or at bat. So it's something that she just kept going with. And that's always been her approach, is that calm demeanor and having things around her that kind of put her at ease. So that's kind of like how it started. And we just kept going with it, even from the Kobe Mamba shorts that she sleeps in. So which is always a good thing. So, but I wanted to find out from Elyse, can you talk a little bit about some of the other coaches that helped you along the way, from hitting coaches, pitching coaches?
Oh, yeah.
The one that come to mind, of course, is Brian, but what role did some of those people and individuals play in your career as a softball player?
Yeah, I would say, I mean, especially with Brian, I feel like a lot of girls go see him for hitting. I still see him for hitting. I mean, I'm in college. I should be at the top of my game and I should have, no problems, but going back to see Brian to just get those little tune-ups, or even just to conversate and talk and discuss about, what's happening. He's definitely been a really good person to have in my corner. Growing up, I saw a lot of pitching coaches. I saw Rob, who was with West Coast Fundamentals. He was the top dog that I wanted to work to. And then I saw Kat, who was like his apprentice, worked with her for a while, and then jumped on with Jessica Bobrakis from MSU. But and I did find someone at Turning 2 also. I think Jen Newman. But kind of getting all those coaches and different perspectives on the game was helpful to become the person that I am now. Because yes, they taught me how to do A, B, C, D, but now I do it a little bit differently and I find what works for me. So having those different mentors in my life to help get me to this point was definitely helpful. And the money that you guys spent on this guy was really helpful.
If you don't mention Stacia,
course.
she ain't gonna have you coach you.
Paul. You just want me to mention you, Paul. He does. But yes, of course, Stacia. I'm talking like lessons. But yes, when Stacia put me through a lesson, I learned for sure.
It really takes a village. That's for sure.
It does.
And I do appreciate that approach too, because when we do our clinics and things like that, we try to bring all the coaches in or college players, and you may be told something over and over again by one coach, but it may click with another coach. Maybe they have it, like you said, a different perspective or a way to explain it. And the bottom line is you just want to get better. It doesn't matter where you get it or who tells you. You just want to keep improving and get better.
Exactly.
All right. It looks like we are through the questions. So at the end of these Chalk Talks, we typically do a raffle giveaway, and we give away a mental toughness book or a gift card for players that are still on the call. And tonight, I just want to take a look here. We are going to give this away to, if she's still on, otherwise I got to draw it again. Molly Selden. I believe you're a 12U player.
Hi.
Hello. You're going to get the Monica Abbott A-List book. And Monica's going to be joining us here in March, and she's going to talk about this book that she wrote. And it's a mental toughness book. And I think all the coaches are going to be going through this book with their teams. And it's kind of like a guide from, when Monica Abbott was 10, she said she wanted to be a gold medalist, an Olympic athlete. And she did go on to accomplish that. And this is kind of her roadmap from 10U in order to reach her goal. So I think it's a really cool book. It's got a lot of, neat perspectives, and a lot of the things in this book also kind of relate back to recruiting education. Some of the things that you're going to need to do to create profiles later, and, goals, things like that. So congratulations.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Again, Elyse, we really appreciate your time. I know you have a very busy schedule. I can't say enough good things about you. You're a very impressive young lady, and you really do present yourself well and speak well about these topics. And I think you're going to be helping a lot of young ladies, in the sport and promoting softball in a positive way.
Thank you. I appreciate being on here. Thank you for everyone who joined too. I appreciate that.
Yeah. All right. So this is the point where we all say, goodbye, good night, and we appreciate, your time. So ladies, you want to kind of chime in?
Bye.
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 Bye, Elyse.
Bye, Mom.
Bye. Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Yeah. Good night.
Love you, kiddo.